It was a bright morning at the Chula Vista Bayside Park when local politicians delivered good news early in 2020.
That we have successfully secured $300 million under the Border Water Infrastructure Program to aggressively address the cross-border pollution from the Tijuana River Valley.
Billions of gallons of sewage-tainted water had been flowing into the United States for months, and locals were hopeful with the news because signs warning of polluted ocean water go up in Imperial Beach, even in the normally dry summer months. But that optimistic news was announced nearly 18 months ago. 3 of the politicians present, Kevin Faulkner, Susan Davis, and Greg Cox, no longer hold public office. And the Environmental Protection Agency has yet to decide how to spend that $300 million.
In August, we hope to identify the preferred project alternatives.
TOMÁS Torres is the director of the Water Division in the EPA Region 9 office.
And once we do that, they will undergo a pretty comprehensive environmental analysis.
San Diego County officials have identified 27 possible projects to control the flows. The largest is a new sewage treatment plant capable of treating 163 million gallons of tainted water a day.
This would be in the U.S. It would capture these flows. And we're looking at various treatment capacity options of what size that plant should be to provide the most protection at the optimum cost benefit. As you probably know, infrastructure in the U.S. is very costly.
A plant would cost more than $300 million that's set aside in the EPA's budget, requiring local officials to find more money. And some of that $300 million in federal money could end up paying for some projects in Mexico.
We're analyzing projects that would make improvements to Tijuana's wastewater conveyance system in order to reduce sewage from entering the Tijuana River in the first place.
That has roiled some San Diego clean water advocates who fear that money spent south of the border is ineffective. They want the projects built on the U.S. side. The contamination issue is nothing new to San Diego County District 1 Supervisor NORA VARGAS. She's worked to fix the problem for decades.
Tijuana River Valley contamination is not a San Diego District 1 issue, and it's not a Tijuana issue. This is a global, international issue that we need to address together, and it's going to take all of us coming together.
Vargas convinced the Board of Supervisors to declare the situation in the Tijuana River Valley a public health crisis, the first time it's been considered more than an environmental issue.
I actually feel that things are starting to move forward.
But Vargas also acknowledges that the problem won't be fixed by the end of this year or even next. EPA officials expect to unveil their preferred alternatives next month, and the EPA's TOMÁS Torres says that will start the clock on mandated environmental reviews, meaning there will be no shovels in the ground anytime soon.
Even though it is a relatively lengthy process, we've been able to cut that down to less than half the time it normally takes.
That won't help this summer, next summer, or even the summer after that. Imperial Beach Mayor SERGE DEDINA says short-term relief may come from state, federal, and local officials who are working on some smaller projects in the region, or relief could come elsewhere.
At this point, it all depends on Mexico. If Mexico really wants to respect the ocean and not dump sewage along the beach, we'll have a good summer. But if they continue to do what they do, which is dump sewage everywhere in the Tijuana River as well as along the beach, then it could be an unhappy summer for us.
DEDINA is hopeful about the EPA's movement, but if the agency's efforts stall, local municipalities and clean water groups could revive federal lawsuits seeking to force the government to clean up the problem. Eric Anderson, KPBS News.